What it is. How are we today? Hope you're having a good day. Joshua Young's the Medicare Machine coming at you from the Medicare Machine Factory. Today's agent tip of the day is really about helping other people finding ways to be unique. It's probably my best advice to people I talk to that are trying to build their own presence in the industry, build their own presence in the business, things like that. You really want to find someone that you relate to combine thoughts and feelings and energy and forces to the most. And so, what I mean by that is finding a groove in finding your own image, your own voice, your own message for the world. And when it comes to branding, again, that's to me the first step you should do when you're building your own business is decide what your brand's going to be, decide what the name's going to be, decide what the mission's going to be, the mission statement, the goals, decide colors and things like that if you want to do color coding and other things like that. But having a complete picture in your mind that you could a vision. You got to be the visionary first, and then you got to be the one that is implementing. So you got to be a visionary and an implementer when you're running your own business. And so a lot of people are really good at the vision part. Like I can see what I want it to be. I can see how this could happen. I can see all those things. What I can't see is or envision is how I'm going to implement, how I'm going to make it a reality. What systems and processes am I going to use to put myself in that position? And so it's very very important that you have resources. It starts with yourself being the resource, number one. Number two, you got to have other resources in play, people that you're being mentored by, people that you're just copying. You don't have to be mentored by somebody to get information and learn from somebody. You can go on to YouTube and go on to Facebook and go on to different angles. What I would say is the best way to figure out what the best way to do something is to audit what others in the same space are doing. And so if you're wanting to find out what I can do, what I would do is try to copy someone else that's doing it in the space. So if I don't already have a plan or a mentor, I'm going to create that. We have a question. What things could I have my wife help me out with during AEP to increase my production? Well, the answer to that is every single thing that you do now that you don't have to do, that you don't get paid for. So, making phone calls to set appointments is something technically that you could have her do and train her to do. Chasing applications once they're submitted, making sure that the applications are entered into your CRM and pulling down data and setting up an enforce appointment, things like that. Answering the phone. So if you don't have an office line, phone line, I would get one, even if it's a VoIP, a voice over internet protocol phone, a digital phone, any kind of phone where the phone rings to her first. That way, you don't feel pressure in the field to answer the phone when you're in the middle of an appointment or other things like that. So I would anything. Those are the two that jump out, but anything that you do that's not what you get paid for. And what we get paid for in our business is helping people by helping them enroll into a plan. And so that at the end of the day, if you're anything outside of that that you can train her on doing that she's willing to support you with, is absolutely a great thing. If nothing else, have her call each client as you help them with an application to follow up and say, here's what to expect. The application is submitted. Here's the status. Let them know as soon as it's active. Having that the touch point, and the more you can babysit your potential customer from application to approval and then to the effective date, the more touches you have in the middle there, the better off, whether it's from you or someone on your staff. And so that's the other thing too. There's positives and negatives to it. By saying, "Hey, this is," if she were to call and say, "This is I'm Holden's wife," there's positives and negatives to that. I, in the beginning, would just say, "I'm Holden's assistant," and down the road, if a coincidence happens and they notice the name thing, then I would do it. But yeah, Holden, I would outsource anything that I could that she has the technology skills to handle, the willingness to help with, and the eagerness to learn. You can plug her into virtually anything in the process except for the actual appointment itself. Then you just need to get a license. So hope that helped. You have any other tips or questions that I can help with? Again, this is an open forum today. There's no official script or anything like that. I'm not doing just a quick video. Today was a quick 15, 20-minute session where I'll log in, answer questions, take any kind of questions that you have and anything at all. But moving forward until someone asks another question, I'll just kind of give some more stuff that I would do. So we have AEP approaching very quickly. It's the hot topic right now. Everybody's scrambling. How do I get ready for AEP? The answer is you don't. The answer is you continually are chasing the process. You're continually trying to improve things on efficiency. And the name of the game really should be, how do I retain the clients I already have? How do I make sure they understand all the value that I bring? And then how do I get them to send me as many people as they know so that I can help as many people as possible? Those should be the three initiatives that you're going after right now. And if anything that you're doing doesn't accomplish one of those three things, help you retain a current client longer, help you increase the value of, or what people know is the value of having you in their corner, or if it's not people coming to you from referrals, then you really don't want to focus on anything else right now. I get asked a million times, what about leads? What about leads? Do we do lead drops? I mean, yes, because I have to, because people in our program haven't gotten over that hump yet. But in reality, if you do this business correctly, you don't need leads. Leads are a part of the equation if you want them to be, but not because they have to be. And there's a big difference between those two. And when you're able to cross that threshold where leads are something that you don't need, which every other upline out there uses leads as bait, is leads as the thing that gets you, you're addicted to leads. I hear some people say, man, I just don't want to, I like what you're doing. I like what you see. I hear about other great things out there in the business. I'm just afraid to change because I get blank for leads, or I get blank for marketing dollars. And are leads important? Yes, in the beginning, but if you're building a business upon which it's dependent upon your ability to continually generate and close leads yourself, then you're never ever going to get off the hamster wheel. Then you're always going to be a solopreneur. There's no way off that boat unless you sell the boat to someone else. There is no way to pull yourself out of that business where you're working on the business, not in the business. So when you're in the in business side of things and you're trying to transition to the working on your business part of it, a big part of that is figuring out how do you pull leads out of the equation for yourself. Now, does that mean you don't need to generate leads and activity for a team or for agents you're trying to support or mentor? Absolutely. And are there times in the year where there's a lull and where I try to fill that lull with leads? Yes. However, I like to control the type of lead I'm getting. I like to control where it comes from, how it comes, what the intention is, how qualified it is. There's different levels. I mean, technically, a lead is anyone with any level of interest. Yeah, for me, I like to help people fine tune within that realm of, hey, okay, go ahead and call me, to I need help and I need help right now and everything in between. I try to keep on the front side of that where I'm closer to people that need help and need help now. And the timing part of it. And the timing part of it comes in from long term branding. And the long term branding is powerful because Typically, it's all about a when and not an if issue. So I'll use Coca-Cola. We all have an opportunity when we're out somewhere. They may say, "Hey, do you want a drink?" And at this point, what I hear all the time is people either ask for Coke or Pepsi. And they ask that maybe not necessarily because they want Coke or Pepsi, but they can narrow down what other brands are available by knowing if that location carries Coke or Pepsi. Because if it's a Coke location, then they're going to have Sprite. If it's a Pepsi location, then they'll have Sierra Mist to go with it. And so knowing those brands, and that's where the branding comes into play. Why is Medicare Peace of Mind powerful? Well, in my town now, when people think I have a problem with Medicare or insurance, this is the place they stop by. Now that comes from time and effort, and you have to put ads in the paper and newspaper ads and radio ads and all these other things that you think aren't working. But in reality, very few things convert to a lead instantly. Activity comes from long-term effectiveness in multiple different areas to where you in essence have a drip system to where each thing drips once in a while, but you have 100 of those things. And so it feels like and looks like on the outside that somebody might have activity dripping in all the time, when in reality they have a whole bunch of different things that drip in activity once in a while. And that once in a while, if you add them up enough, turn into all the time if you do it enough. It's that persistence and that consistency that most insurance agents just flat don't have in them. They become one trick ponies. They become steadfast in what they have. They become complacent. They become lazy. They become spoiled. You can become spoiled in this business if you're so used to one method of activity coming to you and it's an easy one and you don't have to do any effort anymore and you're just kind of being fed activity. Being fed activity is different than hunting down activity. Very, very different. Now, you can create situations in your own business where you're being fed by yourself activity, but you have to understand all the hunt that went into getting that. So we have the grocery store at the end of our chain that we all just now go pick up our meat. The whole process of killing the animal, processing the animal, all the messy parts are removed from us, and we're at the end of the processing chain. Where's the processed meat ready to throw in the pan? Uh, Same thing in this business with insurance. There's a lot of agents out there. They're going, "Where's the grocery store that I just shop for the meat?" Well, that's not how this works. This is where you have to develop your own process to create the actual grocery store chain and everything else. You've got to create all those things. You've got to create your own momentum in this business and in life. And so if you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, any of that kind of stuff, you really need to put yourself in position to where you're doing the whole process. You from hunting the activity down to getting them in position to setting the appointment to all of that. And after doing that for a while, and then once you have all of that down, then you can outsource the process outwards to somewhere else. But it's only when you have full control and full understanding of how that whole thing works, so that you can develop your own process, you can develop your own system that is unique to you. That because what you want to have happen at the end of this whole process of building your business is you want to attract the people that you want to attract. You want to attract people that you want to work with. And to do that, you've got to have down a system because there are 1,000 different ways to do this. There are 1,000 different types of people to attract. And so you've got to figure out who do I want to work with? And then how do I attract that person the best? And you reverse engineer things from there rather than just blindly throwing nets in the water. Like figure out what species you want to catch first. Because I guarantee you, if you want to catch tuna fish, it's a different lure that you're going to use than if you're going after sharks, than if you're going after trout, than if you're going after bluegill or catfish. It's the target species, the ideal target in mind, the client that you want to work with. There's this there's a specific system that you want to put in place that you'll develop over time to increase the number of people in that category that you talk to, that increases your productivity because you get better and better at it because you niche yourself. And niching yourself is not a bad thing. What it means is you're specializing, you're getting good at one thing that you're really good at, that you really enjoy doing, that you put a lot of energy into. So if you're asking, how do I become a Medicare machine? Or how do I get closer to doing that? Or how do I work nothing but referrals? Well, it starts with doing all the stuff that nobody else wants to do first. It starts with putting in effort on something that feels like it's not working for 6 months And then all of a sudden you may have the breakthrough moment where you figured out what it was that was stopping you from being productive. And I'll give you a few examples of that. With doctor offices, I'm really good at getting in the front door, building relationship with the gatekeeper. And what I was struggling with was the conversion from gatekeeper to referrals to me. Like I'm able to build a relationship, but I couldn't get people to cross the bridge and start sending me people to help. And so I had to switch my mindset on that. And I would go in, and instead of looking for doctor offices that needed someone like me, I would go into doctor offices looking for someone who had a problem that I could fix. And so I would go in and ask questions like, so do you have any clients that are having claim problems or had that started treatment programs that had to stop because of cost or benefits? And I started asking questions that would be points of pain to them or their clients rather than points of pain to me. And that fundamental switch in my mindset opened up massive doors to where now I'm solving problems for them. And by human nature, if you do that enough, they're gonna feel some duty to reciprocate. And that's the key. If you don't get reciprocation, you don't have a relationship and you don't have an opportunity. So you either are out there seeking opportunity, seeking problems to fix, seeking ways to create unique solutions to problems that people are having. But the first thing you got to do is find out what the problems are, who's having them, where they're occurring, why they're occurring. Because if you can hack the whole thing and figure out how to prevent the problems from happening, you can go higher up in the supply chain to find where the actual problem is and fix it there. But it all starts with having an openness to figuring out how you're going to grind differently than everyone else. Because there's probably thousands of insurance agents in your area right now. How are you going to differentiate yourself from them? How are you going to get out of the sea of noise? How are you going to rise above the storm that is annual enrollment period when everybody all of a sudden has money to market? Everybody all of a sudden wants to do TV commercials. Everybody all of a sudden wakes up off the deck ready to do something. Well, here's what I'll tell you: to be a true Medicare machine and the real power of this, I could flip the whole script if I wanted to. I could literally, if I wanted to, I could take annual enrollment period off while everybody else is running around crazy. I could be sitting drinking Mai Tais and work the rest of the year, and I'd still be just as effective as all these agents out there that only work the AEP. So there's as much opportunity outside the AEP as there is in. The problem with doing your fishing only during annual enrollment period is every other fisherman out there that's been dormant and laying around doing nothing, drinking Mai Tais the rest of the year. Yeah, I talked to even top level agents, top producing agents I know of that I won't mention by name that I've met that that seasonally work this business. They work at 90 days a year. And the other rest of the year, you can't really find them. You don't really know what they're doing. They're playing a lot of golf. They're going on fishing trips. They're going on vacations. They're living the life. But all powerful to each their own. If that's what you want to do, God bless you. But that's not what we do here. The Medicare Machine Factory doesn't churn out people that want to work 3 months a year. Because if you can do that and live a life off 3 months a year, imagine what you could do if you actually applied yourself and you actually worked the whole year. It's crazy what could happen, how much productivity you could have. You could do a whole career's work in 3 to 5 years and then take the rest of your life off rather than taking every year part of the year off and then having to get back in the grind again. There's so many ways to find success in this business. The fact that so many people fail only shows me one thing. It shows me a few things. People are poorly trained. People are not prepared for opportunity when it comes, and people are ready only when it's convenient. And that's why only 10% of people are entrepreneurs and actually successful at it, because 90% of people can't handle what the pressure is. Everyone just assumes, why don't I just get paid more because I worked more? It's not that simple. Run your own business, be responsible for every aspect of it, and then you'll have a different aspect on what it is to be an employee as well. And so it comes full circle that this business offers unlimited opportunity. And when I talk about this business, insurance in general, insurance and financial services, if you have integrity, if you work hard, if you find a proven system to follow and then make it your own, you can make an unlimited amount of money. The money's not the issue. What it is the impact that you get to have on so many people. So today's agent tip of the day is get your butt out there, help somebody today, whether you get something for it or not, because down the road, If you do enough of that drips system that I talked about, eventually you'll have so many drips coming from so many places that it looks like you're a referral machine when in reality you were just a one at a time machine over time that didn't stop, that didn't get satisfied when they found their first big opportunity. They went, well, how do I find five more of those? Rather than go, how do I keep the one I found? Which is what so many people do. They go to the preservation mindset rather than the abundance mindset, which is if I found one, I can surely find three more. That should be the mindset. Not I found one, I got to protect it, I got to hide it from everybody, I got to not share it, right? And so if you're out there, if I can help you in any way, the Medicare Machine Factory, I designed it for a couple of things. One, I wanted to be able to impact agents that didn't necessarily want to be on my downline or vice versa. So there's a lot of agents out there. I don't want a huge team. I don't want 10,000 agents. If you get invited to be on my team, consider it a blessing because we are only very exclusively looking for a small list of people, a very, very small group within the sea of folks. I'd rather you stay in the upline you have. I'd rather you crush it there. It's better for you in the long run as long as you pick the right one up front. Okay. So that part of it I don't care about. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to build an opportunity for people to get in the top 1%. If you are in not in the top 1% of your industry, if you're in the top 50%, whatever it is, there are things that you can do. And it's probably stuff that you're already doing. You're just going to do it more and more often. Okay. That's really the difference between top producers and you, most likely, if you're not a top producer, is there just other people doing more and more often than you. You just got to find the belief in yourself to start doing it now. Do it now. Do it over and over again, even when you stink at it, because eventually you won't stink at it anymore and you'll get good at it. So today's agent tip of the day is done. We didn't have any more questions, but hopefully you got a little bit out of this today. I'll be doing these once a week. I find this live environment more fun than the pre-recorded training video style type of thing. So thank you again for tuning in. If you tuned in today, if you're watching this later, like, subscribe. We got AEP coming. I'm going to be doing some stuff during AEP to help you have a great day. Get out there, help somebody. We help top 20% become top 1%. I am Joshua Youngs, the Medicare Machine, and this was the Medicare Machine Factory Agent Tip of the Day. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.